Namaste dear friends, Swagatam and welcome again to another very illuminating session that we are going to have now by Professor K. Ramasubramanian. I hope you have enjoyed the morning session of practice sitting on the chair and knowing how to relax yourselves. So now we are going to get into another form of knowing ourselves in these times of a lockdown, and that is through the process of Swadhyaya. So welcome to this session by Professor Ramasubramanian on Swadhyaya, a path to wellness. I'd like to invite Professor Ramasubramanian to please come on screen. In the Gita it is said, Shamo damas tapah shaucham kshanti rarjavam evacha jnanam vijnanamastikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. This means that the actions of a Brahmana arising from his own nature and are serenity, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge of the Vedas, wisdom, and firm faith. These are very apt descriptions of what Professor Ramasubramanian incarnates. And in many ways, he's a role model of a lot of qualities that were talked about yesterday by Balasubramanian ji in his session on enlightened leadership. So I'll just name a few. So he says that an enlightened leader has the qualities of enormous compassion, enormous faith and hope. And so Anna, just a little of a personal note on him, and I'm sure that everybody who knows him well will resonate with these sayings of mine. So Anna is known for his generous heart. Every time he carries sweets with him, so that whether he's in a taxi or he's meeting anybody, he just takes out and gives people whatever he has. If you gift him something at a session, he'll just give it to the next person. So apara udara charitam, that's, I mean, a great generosity of spirit is embodied by Anna. So Anna is also an extremely positive person. He has tremendous fearlessness. He will tell you what he thinks is wrong straight on, uh, for our greater good. And the spirit of service is something that we have already talked about. Extremely mindful. So one thing that I've noticed about Anna is that even, for example, we wash our vessels and we do all that and we waste that water. But Anna preserves that water, gives it to the plants. He's always looking out on how he can help others. And these are certain small things, but they add to the aspect of one's conscious and mindful ways in the little details of life. So we are extremely privileged to have with us a yogi in many ways through his own life practices. And the most important is this practice of self-inquiry and Swadhyaya that we are going to be listening to from him today. A little bit of his technical background. So Professor Ramasubramanian is an institute chair professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. And he has this rare combination of being, from the modern perspective, he has a doctorate in theoretical physics, and he's also a great master of the Indic knowledge traditions. So he has a master's in Sanskrit and a bachelor in engineering, which is a formidable combination to do multidisciplinary research. He was honored with the coveted title of Vidwat Pravara by the Shankaracharya of Sringeri Sharada Peetham in Karnataka for completing a rigorous course in Advaita Vedanta in 2003. He is one of the authors who prepared detailed explanatory notes on the celebrated works Ganita Yukti Bhasha and Tantra Sangraha and Karana Paddhati that bring out the seminal contributions of the Kerala School of Astronomy and Mathematics. I must inform my audience here that in the world there are a handful of people who are working very seriously on trying to not just revive but bring forth the contributions of Indic scholars and mathematicians and astronomers, and bring that out in the contemporary knowledge in the field. So in recognition of his outstanding scholarship, and the prestigious Maharshi Badarayana Vyasa Samman was conferred upon him by the President of India in 2008. He's a recipient of several other awards and accolades as well. Since 2013, he serves as an elected council member of the International Union of History and Philosophy of Science and Technology. In 2018, he was elected as a Fellow of Indian National Science Academy. Currently, he is also the editor of the Indian Journal of History of Sciences, or the Science of History. Anna, what is it? What I have here is it's the Indian Journal of
History of Science.
History of Science, yes. So with these few words, I mean, there's a lot to say about Anna, but I would like to, and Anna, for those who are not familiar, is the endearing term we use in the Tamil language for an elder brother. So everybody who comes in Anna's contact is enriched and enlivened by his caring and nurturing attitude. So with these few words, Anna, Mahan Santoshaha for gracing us great joy, and dhanyawad to you for gracing us with your presence. So we look forward to hearing your words on Swadhyaya, a path for wellness. A path to wellness, yeah. Sorry, Anna, can I just one last technical thing is, for your questions, please put your questions in the Q&A box to make sure that we are addressing them at the end of the session. So for these few words, Anna, thank you.
योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् गुरुं हि स्वयं सत्यः प्रज्ञाभक्तिविनीतयः दीप्तिश्चापि वृताः सत्यं तं गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत् तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि. My salutations to all those who have assembled at their own places to listen to this talk on Swadhyaya, a path to wellness. Before I get into the subject, I would like to share with you a verse that came to my mind as Anuradha was giving some description. Bhartrihari has said, Paraguna Paramanun Parvati Kritya Santaha Nija Hridi Vikasantaha Santi Santah Kiyantaha. So Paraguna Paramanun, if you find a little virtue in the other, if your heart is so generous, then you will try to blow it out like a mountain. So this is what apparently Anuradha has done. Paraguna Paramanun Parvati Kritya. So it perhaps speaks of the goodness in the other person who describes than the one who is described. So with these few words, I would like to thank Anuradha for an extremely generous introduction and a persistent invitation for me to deliver a lecture in this series. I am really grateful to her for her persistence because this gave me an opportunity to dwell upon the concepts of Swadhyaya and wellness. The term Swadhyaya appears, as I understand, 3 times in the Yoga Sutra. This appears right at the beginning of the Sadhana Pada, and then somewhere in between, and then once again at the later part of Sadhana Pada, we find this term Swadhyaya appearing. But the Swadhyaya before this appears in Bhagavad Gita at least 3 times. And if we go and try to trace the word Swadhyaya in a much earlier literature, we will see it appearing several times in the Vedic literature itself. Many of us would be familiar with the Taittiriya Upanishad, wherein it appears in Shikshavalli at least 15 times. Not only is it confined to Taittiriya Upanishad, it is also appearing on a few occasions in what is called Swadhyaya Brahmana, which appears in the Taittiriya Aranyaka. It also appears elsewhere in Taittiriya Samhita. In fact, there is an interesting passage in the Swadhyaya Brahmana. It says, Tasmat Swadhyayothe Tavyo Yinyam Kratumathite Tena Tena Syeshtam Bhavati. You will see a parallel to this, Tena Tena Syeshtam Bhavati, which appears in the Vedic literature. Almost identically, a sutra has been formulated by Patanjali. So in the third, see, here in the third occurrence of this Swadhyaya in the Yoga Sutra, which is Swadhyaya Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. So this is what we see. So this is a broad introduction to the phrase Swadhyaya appearing in several literature. What does the term Swadhyaya mean? It has two components, Swa and Adhyaya. The term Swa used in Sanskrit has at least 4 connotations, broadly speaking. One is Swa means Swatma. You refer to the self. So Svetara means whatever is the object of perception is Svetara. So the perceiver, Atman, is described by the term Swa. We also use the word Swa to refer to something which belongs to me. So it is technically called as Atmiya or Sviya. Sviya is also referred to as Swa. For instance, when you say Swagriham. So Swagriham means this house belongs to me. In fact, we have the phrase which is commonly used, Swagrihe ko vicharosti. So if somebody comes to your house, so you will just tell him, so take it as your house. So it is Swagriha. So there it is Atmiya. It is also used in the sense of referring to someone who is closely connected to you through blood. And sometimes it need not necessarily be blood, but someone who is very close to you, then also you use the word Swa. This is referred to by the term Nyati in Sanskrit. And the word Swa is also used to refer to the word Dhanam, which most of us are familiar with. This not only occurs in the colloquial language, but also appears repeatedly in technical literature, in mathematics, for instance, or astronomy, for instance. Whenever you want to refer to something, addition, so you use the word Dhanam. Swamrinam kuryatu. Swam is Dhanam. So in fact, there is a beautiful definition of what the Swam is with reference to Dhanam in the Nyaya literature. So we have Yatheshta Vinyogarhatvam Svatvam. Yatheshta Vinyogarhatvam Svatvam. Suppose something, you possess some wealth with you. It can be in any form, it can be in the form of knowledge, it can be in the form of resources. So that you will be able to spend it as you like. So that is what Svatvam essentially means. Now, we have understood what this word Swa can mean. The other part of Swadhyaya is Adhyaya. Adhyaya is generally used to refer to a particular chapter, and therefore Prasamodhyaya, Dvitiyodhyaya, and so on and so forth is what we use. But here the word Adhyaya is to be understood a little more carefully. So Adhyaya stems from a certain dhatu which is in. So E only remains. It has two meanings. One is to learn something, to study something. Both aspects are important. So learning is something which you try to gather, and study basically refers to a certain contemplative mind with which you once again approach the same thing that you have learned, analyze it. So this Adhyaya essentially is Adhyanam. So there are grammatical peculiarities, so I will skip all that now. So the point is, so it emerges from a dhatu, root, which has two connotations. One is study, the other is learning. Both are important and both have been extremely well analyzed by people, and then only the term Swadhyaya has been employed repeatedly, whether it is Vedic literature or it is yogic literature or it is some other literature. To just give you an idea as to how many times it has been used, in the Taittiriya Upanishad we have Swadhyaya, Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. This comes at the later part in what is called the convocational address. But before that, Ritancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Satyancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Tapascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Damascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, and so on. It occurs 12 times. And then Swadhyaya Pravachane Yeveti Napo Mudgalyaha Tadhitapas Tadhitapaha. So that is how the passage ends. What does the term Swadhyaya mean? One is, as I was trying to tell you, so it means a careful study analysis of something. So this is Swadhyaya. You take any of the four meanings that I gave for Swam, and then if you just say, tag this study about them. So then you get at least 8 different meanings. Okay, so to learn, to study. Now all of them have to be considered seriously. So even when we look at the commentaries which have been authored on the Yoga Sutra by Vyasa and later supremely elaborated by Bhamatikara. So all these things come to your mind as to the importance of the Swadhyaya. Ultimately, the purpose of yoga is yogaha chittavritti nirodha. Now, for you to achieve this, what is to be undertaken is what is being elaborated in various other sutras in the Yoga Sutra. In fact, it has 4 padas. First is Samadhi pada. So that is what is to be achieved ultimately. Then we have the second Samadhi pada, that is of 51 sutras. Then we have the Sadhana pada, that has some 55 sutras. Then we have Vibhuti pada, that is again having 55 sutras. And then the last we have Kaivalya pada, that is 34 sutras. In all, it just has 195 sutras. I wish I had an opportunity to memorize them when I was a school going boy. Anyway, so that did not happen, but I repent because in those days, had I read that, it was just to stay in memory. But today, it's a little difficult. But I'm saying this because it is extremely important, and anybody who is listening this, if he has an opportunity, so he should just make their children learn this. It's a fantastic text. Okay, that said, so there are 3 occurrences of the word Swadhyaya, as I was mentioning to you in the Yoga Sutras. The Swadhyaya, Atmanaha Adhyayaha, Adhyenam, Atmiyasya Adhyenam, Nyatinaha Adhyenam, whatever you want to say, and Dhanasya Adhyenam. What do you mean by Dhanasya Adhyenam? What is the purpose of the wealth? How am I supposed to use? So in fact, the word Dhanam is to be understood as Sadhanam. Dhanancha Karmartham, Sa is dropped. In fact, in Bhagavad Pada in his commentary, he says, Dhanancha Karmartham Karmacha Upatta Duritakshayartham. So Dhanancha Karmartham means it is used as a tool by you for achieving certain purposes. And what is the purpose? Karmartham. In fact, the first sutra that we have in Sadhana Pada is Tapas Svadhyaya Ishwarapranidhana Kriya Yoga. So Kriya Yoga. Okay. So setting ourselves into right kind of action. So Kriya Yoga. So Dhanam is basically helping you to engage in a certain activity like what the Hindic Academy does. So it is our duty to carry this knowledge forward, which has been shared by the seers with great compassion for us. So this is dhanancha sadhanam, and sadhanam for certain kinds of activities. Obviously, people take it as a sadhanam, no doubt, but the sadhanam for enjoyment and pleasure, which is derived from external agencies, thinking that that will lead us to the santosha. In fact, we will have later discussion on what santosha is, but that does not really lead you to tushti, which is going to be everlasting with us. Temporarily, you may be elated by something, but then you will be taken once again down. So there will be a severe fall. And if you cannot have this once more, then you land into more serious trouble. Whereas this is something which is going to really elevate you without having any dependency on external agents. So that is what we need to understand. So dhanancha. So dhanasya adhyanam, you take it whatever way, whatever meaning. So swadhyaya has to be done. So the swadhyaya pravachani yeveti nako maudgalyaha. That is what that Shruti says. So the importance of doing swadhyaya. I said that adhyanam has two meanings. The way it is defined is Gurumukha Ucharana Anucharana. So that was the mode of learning. When I said the mode of learning, perhaps even today, the best mode of learning is that Ucharanam anu Ucharanam. So this Ucharana itself has to be done properly. Particularly when you deal with these texts. So otherwise it can be completely confusing. Where you have to break, what kind of path that you have to give. So all these things have to be learned. Now this Ucharanam Anucharanam is one Swadhyaya. The word Adhyaya, so technically speaking, so since there are scholars in this audience, we know for sure. So this Adhi is the prefix. Then we have the dhatu E coming. And then we have a suffix called ghain. This ghain, only A will remain. And the E will turn into I. And therefore, Adhi, I, Adhyaya. So this is how it appears. What does this suffix ghain actually mean? It means karmani. Okay. So it can be karmani, it can be even karani. So this ghain when you say, so this adhyayaha when you say, if you look at the commentaries which have been authored, even in this sutra, let me just tell you the first sutra of the Pada, Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwarapranidhana Kriya Yoga. In that sutra, the commentator starts with Pranavadi Pavitranam Japaha Moksha Shastra Adhyanam Va. So this is how the term Swadhyaya has been defined. What is Swadhyaya? Pranavadi Pavitranam Japaha. So those mantras which are considered to be purifiers, which have the effect of purifying your mind. So their repetition, japaha. So pranavadi pavitranam japaha. The other aspect, if you look at, moksha shastra adhyanam va. So moksha shastra is the term that is generally used to refer to Vedanta. And this is moksha shastra because it helps you to relieve yourself from the bondages. And that happens only through jnana and the jnana of one's own self. Okay? That this Atman is Nitya Shuddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Chidananda Rupaha. So this is the understanding that we need to have for us to completely get relieved from the bondage. So therefore the term Svadhyaya has been defined as Pranavadi Pavitranam Japaha. Now the term Adi, what does it refer to? So Pranava is Omkara. Pranavadi Pavitranam. So anything that can purify you. So it can be Vedic chanting, it can be Sangeeta, divine music. So it can be Sangeeta. So it can be Rudra, it can be Purusha Sukta. So it can be Vishnu Sahasranama, it can be any other stotra. So that is why, so this has been stated as Pranavadi Pavitranam. In fact, if you look at commentary of Bhamati Kara, he actually explains it in great detail. Incidentally, you also need to understand what is meant by Japa. So the sutra starts with Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwarapranidhana Kriya Yoga. So first he states Tapaha. So then he moves on to explain what Swadhyaya is. And there it has been stated as Japaha. So Japaha is repetition, but it is more precisely defined by a few people. So let me state the verse for you. You can repeat first. Japasya lakshara vrittihi.
Japasya lakshara vrittihi. Japasya lakshara vrittihi.
Manaso pamshu vachikaihi.
Manaso pamshu vachikaihi. Manaso pamshu vachikaihi.
Dhiya yadakshara shrenim.
Dhiya yadakshara shrenim. Dhiya yadakshara shrenim.
Varnasvara padatmikam.
Varnasvara padatmikam. Varnasvara padatmikam.
Uchcharedarthamuddishya.
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 Manasassa japasmritaha.
Manasassa japasmritaha. Manasassa japasmritaha.
So Swadhyaya is stated to be japa. What is japa? Japasya lakshara vrittihi. Avrittihi means repetition. So aksharasya avrittihi, akshara vrittihi. So japa is repetition of a sequence of letters or syllables. These syllables can be having some intonation as we find in Vedic literature, or it need not have any kind of intonation as we find in certain other mantras. But these syllables should have a certain sequence, and this sequence has been tried by various people and it was found to be useful, and therefore they have been recommended to you. Now, he is generally defining japa as japasya lakshara vrittihi. And this avritti can be done in three modes. One is manasam, the other is upamshu, the other is vachika. So this manasa vritti is considered to be most beneficial, but that could be little difficult for people, and therefore they recommend upamshu. And if upamshu is also not possible, then at least do vachika. So therefore, three modes are there. So this avritti of what? Akshara shreni means a sequence of letters. Dhiya akshara shreni, if you do, it is manasavritti. But there is a certain tendency for you to immediately fall asleep or get into dream state. So therefore, what is recommended is to listen to some divine music, is to listen to some sloka, to chant yourself. So this is what is the Varnasvarapadatmikam. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because this Svadhyaya, when you see in the most ancient literature, so there it is stated to be Brahma Yajna. of the 5 yajnas that have been prescribed for a human being, so one of them is this Brahma Yajna. Deva Yajna, Pitar Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Manusha Yajna, Brahma Yajna iti. Yadagno Juhot Kapi Samidhan Tad Deva Yajna Santisthate. Yat Pitrubhya Svadha Karot Yapyapas Tad Pitar Yajna Santisthate. Then Yat Swadhyaya Madhite Tad Brahma Yajna Santisthate. So that is what is stated as Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya Madhite means the one who studies Swadhyaya, that is taken as Brahma Yajna performed by him. So which means it is a repetition of the Veda that you have learned from your teacher. And for you not to forget, so they say Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam na pravaditavyam. You should never ever do this. Now let me get into a little more detail on the word Swadhyaya. So I was mentioning to you that there is a pratyaya ghany added to that, and it is in karma, which means so sviyasya adhyanam swadhyanam. You can just say sviya means that which is supposed to be learned by you by virtue of coming in a certain lineage. So if you are belonging to Rig Shakha, you should first learn Rig Veda. So if you are coming through Yajur Shakha, so then you have to learn Yajur Veda. Whatever Veda that you learn, Guru Mukha Ucharana Anucharana. So now the suffix tells you to that which is ordained upon you to learn. So this Swadhyaya, there is absolutely no freedom of choice. So the Swadhyaya is supposed to be learned. That is how the tradition has been, and that is what has helped us in retaining this Vedic knowledge today in its pristine form, at least by a few people. So the Swadhyaya is something which has to be, that which is supposed to be learned. Okay. So the other way you can understand is that which is to be taken by you as belonging to you. Understand? So that which is connected with you, Rig Veda, but it has to be owned by you. Then only it becomes Swadhyaya. So if it is in the book, it is of no use. Pustakasthadu ya vidya parahasta dhanam gatam dhanam karyakale samutpanne nasa vidya natad dhanam. Okay, so that is how they say. So that which is in the book, that which is in the paper, may not be of much use. Even for you to study, contemplate, it has to be in your own mind. The more you contemplate on that, the more will be the revelation that happens to you. And therefore, they insist that this is made as Swatniya. Okay? So that is how the word Swadhyaya needs to be understood. Now, the Swadhyaya, so in one sense, it refers to the Rigvedadi Shastra, that which is to be learned by you. The other meaning of Adhyanam, so can be Bhave. So it may not be Karmani, but Bhave. So there is another Bhava. Bhavartha means it basically refers to the sense of the verb itself. It basically refers to the process Adhyanam. Okay. So Adhyanam, it can refer to the process. So what is learned can be referred to by the word Adhyaya. So the process of learning can be taken as Adhyaya. And now if you look at the third aspect to it, Swatmanaha Adhyanam Swadhyaya. So trying to understand the nature of yourself, that is also Swadhyaya. And therefore when the Shruti says, Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam, so you cannot leave this aside. So Swadhyaya basically refers to study of the scriptures, and Pravachana refers to the sharing aspect of this knowledge. Okay? So Pravachanam means Adhyapanam. So Adhyanam and Adhyapanam are an integral part of your own lifestyle. So that is what the Shrutis talk about. And it is here that the wellness lies. In fact, I was thinking about this. today morning, and it occurred to me that if we even study this literature of Yoga Sutra thoroughly, we will see that Swadhyaya can be proclaimed as the path to wellness. There is no question of a path to wellness. So ultimately, for this person to get freed from the entire bondage, yoga is a means. So the means, in fact, at the end of the first chapter, Samadhi Pada, more or less it is over to Samadhi. So he has stated what are the different stages. So he has also described in short the means to get this. Abhyasa Vairagya Bhyam Tannirodha in the other sutra. So Abhyasa and Vairagya. If you can engage yourself as it has been stated in these two sutras, then obviously you will be able to reach. But that is not possible. So that is what is to be understood when the second pada starts. So the introduction to the second pada, so that has been stated, is something which is worthy of looking at. It says, Uddishta samahita chittasya yogaha katham yuddhita chittopi yogayuktasya adityataha arabhyate. So this is the statement that has been given by Vyasa in this domain. It has been further elaborated by Vachaspati Mishra. But the sum and substance of this is this. Samahita chittasya yogaha. So samahita chitta means, in fact, it has three parts. Sam, a, and then dha. Samahita chitta. Samadhi itself, basically, sam, a, dha. Dha is dhatu. So dharanam, basically, bringing together and keeping it under your control. So samyak, so keeping things completely under your control from all parts, from all around. So that is what you can understand from the prefix a. So samyak a samantatu dharanam, having a perfect control. So that is what samadhi is. So for him, the one who is able to achieve this, it is perfectly fine with yoga, whatever you said. But how about people who cannot achieve this? Abhyasa and Vairagya are stated as means. But how does one help oneself to achieve this Abhyasa and Vairagya? So that is where the Swadhyaya comes. So Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishwarapranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So this helps you in achieving Vairagya. So Vairagya, if it is obtained, obviously it can lead you to higher states of consciousness. But how do I first of all achieve this? So it is where the Swadhyaya is required. So when I say Swadhyaya, in fact this has been much more beautifully elaborated in the context of describing Niyama. So what we have here is, so in the Kriya Yoga, so it starts with Kriya Yoga, and then later it actually moves, and then it says, Shaucha Santosha Tapas Svadhyaya Ishwarapranidhana Niyama. What is the difference between that sutra and this sutra? Two more things have been added. Shaucha and Santosha. The other three things have been essentially repeated. What is tapaha, in fact, we need to understand. But since I have been given to talk on Swadhyaya, so I will confine myself to Swadhyaya. So, but we need to understand. So this tapaha has been defined variously by various people. There are different ways of looking at what this tapaha is. And in fact, Bhagavad Gita elaborately describes what is Kayikam tapaha, what is Vachikam tapaha, what is Manasikam tapaha. So there are three verses which have been dedicated in Bhagavad Gita. And even there you will find the word Swadhyaya coming. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam jayat Swadhyaya prasananchaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. So vangmayam tapa. So you repeat the Vedic mantra that you have learned. So that is Swadhyaya. So if you are a musician, you keep on singing. So you dedicate yourself to music and you achieve different levels of ecstasy. Make the audience achieve different levels of ecstasy. So that happens only through Swadhyaya. So that which you own up, whatever be the field of knowledge, so you do this. But ultimately, all these achievements do not necessarily give you a sense of satisfaction. So the satisfaction that you require, Atma Tripti, so that comes only through the knowledge of the self, that I am complete by myself. So that is what is referred to by the word Swadhyaya when they say Moksha Shastra Adhyanam. And that comes through what is called Santoshaha. And there, in fact, these are all nicely defined. One way of looking at this tapaha is Dvandva Sahanam. So that is what is stated. Dvandva Sahanam. So Dvandva Sahanam means Shitoshna, Sukha Dukha. So any pairs of things that you are thinking have to be accepted by us without lamenting forever that this has happened, that has happened, that has happened. That is how it will happen. So that understanding should be there. And there he says, in fact, the commentator has some very interesting pairs, which I did not come across in other places. So I will just share with you. He says, Jighatsa pipase. Normally we use the phrase Ashana. So here he uses the word Jighatsa. It essentially means the same thing. So Attumichha Jighatsa. So Jighatsa pipase Shitoshne. Then he also says Sthanasane. So sometimes you may have to stand for some. So your legs have to cooperate. So if you have to sit for long duration, then the knees have to cooperate. So all this is obtained by Abhyasa. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tannirodha. Whether it is control of motor organs, whether it is control of your thoughts. So this is what is the means for it. So Sthanasane, Kashthamona, Kashtapuna, Karamaune. So all these several pairs have been listed. So it should be possible. Okay. So it is extremely difficult for people not to speak. So that is again a training that you have to give yourself. So all these are considered as tapaha. In fact, Krishna Chandrayanam tapaha. So if you look at the Upanishadic literature, the moment some Shishya comes, so the Acharya will say, you do this tapas. So then you come once again for this knowledge. So if you are a prepared person, then you will quickly get. That is why today, even in this simple management training, so they will say you should have 5 years of experience, then only you can register in this. So why? It is to prepare those. It is to prepare that fellow so that he can receive this knowledge. And when it comes to the most subtlest knowledge, so there can be only confusion if you are not preparing yourself. Okay? And the confusion can lead to samshayatma vinashyati ultimately. So this is very important to understand. And what is this santoshaha? Santoshaha, so here he says, sannihita sadhanat adhika sadhanasya anupaditsa. Anupaditsa. Upaditsa means upadatu ichha. Okay. So anupaditsa. A certain maturity in your mind, which will make you feel that I am happy with what I have. So sannihita sadhanat, things have come to you adhika sadhanasya anupaditsaha. So that is how santoshaha is defined. So tushtihi is basically satisfaction. And saucham is of anyway two types. So the Swadhyaya, so the first sutra talks about the Swadhyaya, Ishwarapranidhana as a Kriya yoga. So then having listed, so the 8 limbs of yoga, Ashtanga yoga. So while defining what is niyama, once again we find this sutra, Taucha Santosha Tapas Swadhyaya Ishwarapranidhana niyamaha. So we have. Then, so since we are running out of time, so I'll just quickly tell you the last sutra which is there. So we have the sutra Swadhyayat Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. So this is what is stated there. Swadhyayat Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. So how do we understand this? So Vyasa Bhashya says, Devaha Rishaya Siddhascha Swadhyaya Shilasya Darshanam Gachanti Karye Chasya Vartante. So Swadhyaya Shilasya. So this is very important. This Shila is used only in those contexts when there is a certain natural inclination towards performing something. So initially you may not have, but once you know the benefit of it, then you would not like to leave it. So this is what Modi has been repeatedly saying. Yoga importance. So this importance of this, once it is understood, so then you will be able to save yourself from the hankering of things that you are hankering for, and derive the same amount of joy, in fact far better joy from within than from outside. So that is what he is trying to say. Swadhyaya Shilasya. So the Swadhyaya, as I told you, you take any meaning of the word Swam. So if you understand the worth of money, then you will not be really after it for all your lifetime. Magru Dharkasya Svitham. There is no end to it. That is why Artham Anartham Bhavaya Nityam Nasti Tatasukha Lesha Satyam. Putradapi Dhanabhajam Ditihi Sarvatresha Vidita Riti. So once you understand the meaning of this thoroughly, so then you will not be really prompted towards spending all your time and energy in acquiring more and more. So the other meaning of Swam, if you just take, you try to analyze any pressure that you really have, so you will understand that when the hankering stopped momentarily, you were able to enjoy the joy within, and it is not necessarily from outside. So this can be analyzed and logically convinced also. Other people can be convinced. So that effort has been done by various acharyas for us. So the Swadhyaya, so this will help you get to this. So whether you study the nature of yourself as the embodiment of happiness, or you study about Atmiya. In fact, there is a beautiful verse that we have in Satashloki. This Atma and Atmiya, so this word has been chosen by Acharya to explain this Aham is something which generally refers to this mind-body sense complex. So the Sharira, this Indriya group, Manas, and the self, the conscious being. But the word Atman is generally used to refer to that conscious being alone. Sometimes it can be used to refer to certain other things in the context. If it demands, then you interpret that word that way. But then, if you understand the source of dukkha is this ahambhava and mamata. So that is why this Svadhyaya means you understand all this. So there is a beautiful verse, maybe I will conclude with that. Yah kaschit saukhya hetoh त्रिजगति यतते नैव दुःखस्य हेतोः देहे हन्ता तदुत्था स्वविषय ममता चेति दुःखास्पदे द्वे जानन् रोगाभिघाताद्यनुभवति यतो अनित्यदेहात्मबुद्धिः भार्याः पुत्रार्थनाशे विपदमथ परामेति नारातिनाशे. What does it say? Any being for that matter in this world is only after having a sense of happiness and satisfaction. Yes, whatever be the action that you engage with, ultimately it is only the happiness. Yakaschit saukhya hetoh trijagati yatate. Forget about this loka. Take any other loka. Naiva dukkhasya hetoh. And then Acharya here says, dehe ahantaha. So, assuming this deha to be a person is what really makes you get into sorrow. Dehe hanta tadutha svavishaya mamata cheti. And mamata arises from this ahanta. So, these two are the factors which actually try to make this person undergo various kinds of afflictions. If you can drop that, that can happen only through Swadhyaya. No other way. There is absolutely no other way. Dehe hanta tadutha svavishaya mamata cheti dukkhaspade dve. He further explains, janan rogadhikhatadyanubhavati anitya dehatma buddhi. So in this anitya, you have this atma buddhi. So suppose you are short. So what? Why should you wear 4 inches heels? Suppose you are dark. It is given to you. Just accept it. We cannot accept. Why? Dehe atma buddhi. You have absolutely no choice. It is given to you. Anitya deha. All kinds of complexities arise. Anitya dehatma buddhi. So that is why the Swadhyaya. Analyze this. So Swadhyaya essentially means this. So Swadhyaya and the process of reading these kinds of scriptures which enable us to understand the nature of the self is also Swadhyaya. So that is why this injunction, Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam, means you cannot. And in fact, it has been stated repeatedly by Acharya that this cannot terminate at the age of 21 or the age of 25 or 35. It has to happen. It is a lifelong process. In fact, that has been beautifully brought out by Shankara Bhagavad-pada. In fact, when you see this, tapas Svadhyaya pravachaneta, namascha Svadhyaya pravachaneta, samascha, it goes on. See, prajananascha, prajatischa Svadhyaya. Prajati means you should also engage yourself in trying to see that the progeny, continuation, there is a continuity of this. And this can happen, so putra, pautra, and so on and so forth. You engage in this activity is what the Shruti tells you. But you have to engage in this activity. You cannot engage before you are 60. When it is great-grandchildren or great-grandchildren. So this is something which has to be everywhere you find the Swadhyaya Pravachana. So along with all these junctions, the Swadhyaya Pravachana is there, which means it is a lifelong process. What essentially this term Swadhyaya means. So, Swasya Adhyanam, Swaswarupasya Adhyanam, and Swaswarupasya Adhyanam, whatever that helps us in acquiring this, Tasya Adhyanam, whatever the means that helps us. In fact, it has been so beautifully stated. With that, we will just wind up the lecture. This does not just like that happen by reading a small portion of something. So that is why I once again say it is a lifelong process. Only when you read a variety of literature, so you will be able to see how the thoughts have converged and they present you a much more beautiful vision of what you want to have. So that is why this Ekam Shastram Adhiyanaha in Ayurveda Shastra they say. So Navidyat Shastra Nishchayam. Tasmad Bahushrutaha Shastram Vijaniya Chikitsakaha. Okay, this Chikitsaka can be we for ourselves. It need not necessarily be a doctor. So who can be a doctor for you to get rid of this ajnana? You are the doctor for yourself. Ekam Shastram Adhiyanaha. When I looked at this sutras, so I was quite thrilled to. I didn't have an opportunity to read some of the sutras. So you can see the parallel between the thoughts. So what we see in Upanishadic literature, what we see here, and what we see in Yoga Sutra. So ekam shastra mahiyanaha navidyat shastra nischayam tasmad bahushrutaha vijaniyat chikitsakaha. So this is true of whatever profession that you undertake. And ultimately, yoga anyway is something which is appealing to many people. But if it is sort of superficial, it doesn't really lead to the ultimate purpose of yoga. So there is nothing wrong in maintaining the physical body, and that helps. Okay. But the primary purpose of yoga is chittavritti nirodha. So with these words, I would once again like to thank Anuradha for having invited me to share some of my views on this Swadhyaya. The title is chosen by her. So I would like to express my gratitude also to Indic Academy for celebrating this. Celebrating earlier, they celebrated oneness on the occasion of Shankara Bhagavad Pada's Jayanti. Now they are celebrating the benefits of yoga. So on the occasion of International Yoga Day. So whoever be behind this, so I congratulate all of you. Thank you.
Bahu dhanyavadaha, Anna. Thank you very much. Your session was an exemplary session for all our participants on what Jnana Yoga entails. Because thus far we've had more sessions which are at a level of practice and, you know, those kinds of things. Bhakti, we've seen Bhakti in its different modes. But I think yours, we had one session by Dr. Kriya Vaidya, which was also an intellectual analysis of what happens when you come in relationship with masters, when you live with masters. But your session was a brilliant analysis of what Swadhyaya entails, the rigors of textual analysis. And in today's context, where we are very often carried away by simple translations, we tend to lose out on the nuances of the depth of what every word in these sutras and these yogic texts have to share with us. So thank you very much for giving us a beautiful demonstration of how the mind has to apply itself, and so that one cannot but study it for oneself, and of course then study it with great teachers like you who are totally committed to helping this knowledge be spread amongst the people. So thank you very much. We've had a very steady audience of the auspicious number of 108 on the Zoom, many more on Facebook, and many more on YouTube. So I think that's a very good thing. And I was just thinking that listening to you, people they would be enthused to do more Swadhyaya, because there are many terms that you were using. So please listen to this lecture again and look at those terms and try and understand them in greater depth. But I'll take on some questions without taking much more time. So we had somebody who said that, you know, what is the right age for children? Shelly Bhagini is asking, what is the right age for children to start studying Yoga Sutras according to you?
Yeah, I would say the moment the child is able to utter words, it can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I will not be able to define that. What we need to understand is, whatever they hear, they will be able to repeat. And it can happen at the age of 4 itself. It can happen at the age of 5 itself. I'm saying this because, so there is a very profound scholar who shared with me that at the age of 4, 5, I mean, he will be just taken along, and then the father will keep saying, So you just keep repeating over. So we keep teaching songs, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and so on. So you need not necessarily teach that alone. So you can teach some beautiful verses. In fact, I was quite puzzled and thrilled to see almost some 2 million views of some Yoga Sutra being sung by some lady. So I was just listening to him. I was searching for Yoga Sutras in the web, and suddenly that came. And she is just singing some 3-4 sutras. Then that Atha Yoga Anushasanam, some 3 sutras and 3 more sutras. And that is for about 15 minutes. Anyway, so I'm just saying. So you just make them listen. Okay. So this you can start at the age of 4, 5. So then in no time, let me just give you one example. Recently, a lady was telling me, she is a very enthusiastic lady residing in Mumbai, and she told that she has just taught an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old girl to memorize the entire 4,000 sutras of Panini. Finished. So she was just asking me to come and preside that session, but it happened to be in lockdown, so the date will be a little later. But I'm just saying, so this is what Mani Dravid Shastri was also telling me. So the 4,000 sutras can be just committed to memory. So the power of memory is something which has not been tapped by us in this generation and the previous generation to retain things. So it is phenomenal. So we will not be able to say it is 3 years and then 8 months. So as people try to prescribe based on some data, so that is not going to work. So that is why I'm just saying. So the moment they are able to pick up, start.
There are several other questions, and one by Akhilji who's saying, is doing japa the equivalent to Swadhyaya? Then should we concentrate on meaning of mantra which we are chanting while doing japa?
Yeah, there are 2 ways. One is this mantra by virtue of chanting in a particular way can have an effect. So like listening to music, so you hear the raga and you just get elevated to a different level. So I need not understand a single word of Jagaraja Kriti, but it simply elevates me. So similarly, Vedic chanting, merely listening, so that kind of a vibration creates a certain tranquility in mind. So this is an experience. So it is not something which, so how are you happy? Why are you happy? So these are questions I cannot ask. So it is, you have to tell whether you are happy or unhappy. So these are certain things which cannot be verified. So when I say on listening to this, I get elevated. So it is an experience which I share. And therefore this mantras, so Vedic mantras, so by virtue of mere chanting in a particular way, they can really elevate us. And certain other stotras for you to engage yourself more intimately with the bhava, so meaning will be useful. I would not say meaning is mandatory, but it will definitely be extremely useful.
Thank you, Anna. We can see from the question that the audience has been a very learned audience, as we have a very learned audience as well. So we have Harishi who's saying that it is said that Atma Jnanam should be taught through Guru Shastra Upadesha, not through self-study. So who should be reverentially accepted as a Guru, a Shrotriya or a Shrotriya or a Brahmanishta, Shrotriya Brahmanishta or a Brahmanishta?
Okay. So irrespective of the domain of knowledge, it is always good to learn from someone who is expert. But that is not always possible. So what you need to understand is, if you want to find the best teacher in the world to teach me electromagnetic theory, so then 95% of us should just drop the course from electrical engineering. Okay? So the point is, we just get ourselves exposed. So this jnana definitely, if taught by the right person, really appeals to us. So there is no doubt about it. But In the process of choosing the right guru, I may not guru, so etc., etc., you cannot spend all your life. So you should just enter into it. And then in the process, if you are a sincere seeker, then your prayer gets answered at some point of time. So your vasanas that are created, after all, is all vasanas. So the sadvasanas, instead of reading Harry Potter, you can keep reading the commentary of Yoga Sutra. So you may not understand fully, doesn't matter. But this samskara will be there. And there may be a certain point by which it will start clicking. So you listen to something, it just strikes.
Thank you. There was another question which was that there is a Vivarana text available for Vyasa's commentary on Yoga Sutras, which is ascribed to Shankara. Is this Shankara the same as the famous Advaita preceptor?
I may not be able to answer this question because I am myself novice to this Yoga Sutra and its commentaries. So we have to just go by what is being stated. It is very difficult. So I know that there is something. It may be possible. There may be other Indologists who may say that this is. In fact, there are so many Indologists who say that many of the works which are ascribed to Shankara cannot be ascribed to Shankara. So these are all little difficult things, so which cannot be settled. So as long as the commentary gives some insight to you, you just take from it.
Then there's also another question about by Anilji on the meaning of Swadhyaya Prashamsa in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Would you like to elaborate on?
No. Swadhyaya means Shabdasya Ucharanam when it comes to Veda.
Can you tell that in English as well because of our international audience?
Yeah. So Swadhyaya is repetition of the Vedic mantras that you have learned. This is one sense in which it is used. So when you try to describe Brahma Yajna, it need not be necessarily Veda mantra alone. It can be even the Yoga Sutras if you are studying Yoga Sutras. So whatever you study, you keep repeating. This is Swadhyaya in one sense. The other thing is, whatever you repeat, you contemplate, that is the study part of what you have learned. So not to lose what you have learned, you have to keep repeating. To understand what you have learned, you have to contemplate. That is also Swadhyaya. And the third meaning of Swadhyaya, which I was mentioning to you, these literature are essentially meant to understand the true nature of yourself, and therefore Atmanaha Adhyanam Swadhyaya. Trying to understand the true nature of oneself.
And like you said earlier on, that can either happen through a study of oneself as in a mental analysis or the use of the texts.
Yes. So use of the text always helps. So there may be exceptional people like Ramana Maharishi who need not have undergone any kind of study in this birth. So they may be enlightened people. But that doesn't mean that every Joe and Harry or Ram and Krishna can study something on his own and try to get the essence of what is being conveyed.
So Anna, there were some questions also around whether you had any suggestions for any texts that you've come across that have easy commentary and yet which are authentic in the way they're presenting the sutras.
I said that I have not even read the Sanskrit literature. Where is the question of myself recommending anything in English? So I have to be forgiven for my ignorance.
Okay, so just maybe I could help the audience. There is a book called 4 Chapters on Freedom by Swami Satyananda Saraswati from the Bihar school, which is an excellent exposition with commentary, simple commentary, and writing on the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. So that could be one source that many might want to look at. Even Swami Vivekananda has written a commentary on the Yoga Sutras, and that might also be a good reference book because it will show you about the practice because he lived that reality. And so, how does such a person comment on the Yoga Sutra? So, these are two texts that I can recommend to you. But with these words, I would like to say, Bahudhan.
Anu,
Yes. Tell me, Anna.
based on the study for the past 2 days, I can tell you, I started yesterday. I can tell you that the Sadashiva Brahmendra Vritti is short one. So that seems to be if someone is interested, quickly getting from, of course, Sanskrit source.
It would be in Sanskrit.
Sadashiva Brahmendra Vritti seems to be very short. So there is a Vritti. And I was much pleased to know only yesterday, in the context of searching the web, that this Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, they have done a splendid job by putting all these texts in the web. Not only that, so there are some portions which are being rendered vocally also. So those who cannot even read Sanskrit properly, some great service seems to have been done. So I must congratulate on this occasion what they have done. So because I just was thrilled to know the amount of effort that have gone, particularly focusing. There are about, I can see that, so there are about 7-8 commentaries which are there, and some 3-4 super commentaries. So all of them have been uploaded there. So that it's called Yoga Vaisharadi. So that is what I saw. So it is a good collection. In fact, I called the person yesterday. So and then congratulated him. I was quite thrilled to know that. So there are a few lapses. So those proof corrections anyway have to be done. Otherwise, it is a extremely good repository.
There's a lot of gratitude pouring out on the comment section for all that.
Okay, dhanyavada.
So generously with
So
us.
all that gratitude should be directed towards you.
Not at all. I have been a very humble nimittam, and I wanted to also add that in Sanskrit there is a Subhashita verse that says Vidya Dadati Vinayam. So Anna is an embodiment of that humility that comes from his vast knowledge, and we are like the squirrel that is a little bit, allowing you to cross that vast ocean and get benefit from his knowledge a little bit. So Vinaya had some suggestions about text. He was saying that you have Yoga Vaisharidi of KYM Institute that you can also look at. And we have a dedicated session in Sadashiva Brahmendra Saraswati coming up also. So basically, our appeal to all the participants that the objective of Indica Yoga is really to be a platform that will promote authentic, immersive, and transformative learning experiences. And a personal appeal that I have for you is that we all study different texts, we have our own practices and all. So it's an invitation for you to consider maybe another 2 weeks as a self-study based on the different inputs that you're getting from these experts. See if you can adopt a little bit of a research mode. So take on any one teaching that you have resonated with and try and apply that for the next 2-3 weeks. And then share with us what transformation you undergo as a practice, as a process in that particular process. So for those of you who are open to this idea, we would love to hear from you. Please take on any one idea and then systematically try and work out a routine, work out something that you apply over these next few days. And as Dr. Travis told us, that any kind of self-work does wire our brains positively. So please do those practices and feel benefited from them. Our Ramasubramanian ji has been extremely blessed to have grown up in a family of great scholars. His father, Mahopadhyaya R. Krishnamurti Shastrigal, was the former principal of Sanskrit College and a great scholar who has enlightened many, many students. So with these few words, I would request you all to please stay in tune, stay in touch with these programs, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the like the Facebook page of Indica Yoga, go on to the indicayoga.com page, the website, and get get access to a lot of this knowledge as they come your way. All right. So I would just like to end here, but I would like to, before we close, show you the program of the evening. So Srinivasji, may I request you to please show the program? So in the morning, just for those who missed the morning session, it was an excellent session by Prabha Krishnanji, who taught us therapeutic yoga with the chair. So that was a brilliant session for these times. We had the present session by Professor K.Ramasubramanian. And in the evening, we have another very insightful session by Francois Laurent. He's a Frenchman from the European Union of Yoga, of which he is the vice president and also the present chief faculty at the Institut Français de Yoga. Okay, so the French Institute of Yoga, he's one of the main faculty there. And keeping in line with this theme that we have picked up from the Swadhyaya that Anna shared with us, we have the pure consciousness, our true identity. So as a practitioner in another culture, he's going to share with us some of his insights and understandings on this topic as well. So please stay with us. Anna, coming back to you again, I would like to request you to please tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, because there are people who have a lot of questions. So how can they reach out to you and have a lot of questions answered, some that I could not take up due to paucity of time. So if you could kindly let us know.
So that can be done possibly through you.
Would you
so
like
anyway,
to share your...
the IIT Bombay website will have some email ID. So ram@hss.iitb.ac.in. I think that should be possible for people to locate.
Yeah, so please look up this website and you will, if you search professor's name, you will find it there. So with these few words, Anna, would you like to leave our audience with a message?
No. So please do practice yoga. Please do Swadhyaya. That is all I would say.
In all humility, yes. And it's a great message that I will also take back personally for myself. So thank you very much. We look forward to having your presence in the session in the evening. So have a great rest of the day. Namaste.